task number 1 of our Observing Mechanisms project is vocabulary. This is how we start off a lot of our projects, just becoming familiar with a lot of these vocabulary words that you're going to hear throughout the project and ones that you're going to see and read about. And so we want to make sure that we're all on the same page understanding those meanings. Our essential question that we are going to answer or think about as we go through this vocabulary today is how can expanding your vocabulary make you smarter? There's a reason why your teachers ask you to define these terms and come up with images and find examples and non-examples. And it helps that knowledge base. How does that actually help you, help just your brain work and function? So the words that you're going to define for this vocabulary exercise are input, output, torque, gear ratio, idler gear, conservation of energy, and reversal of power. So at this point, let's pause the video and open up your design notebook. Now that our design notebook is open, you can see the project plan here at the top. And today, this first task is task number 1. And so you're going to be working on the vocabulary, completing the Freyer models, which is inquiring and analyzing. So doing some research and gathering some information about what these terms mean. All of these in the project plan up here are bookmarked, so you can click on task 1 and it will drop you down. But task 1 is right underneath the project plan here. So you see the go sign for task number 1. So our essential question once again is how can expanding your vocabulary make you smarter? We started this, you just need to finish this answer at some point before this project is complete. As you go through the vocabulary, please, please, please do not copy and paste definitions. Please write them in your own words. Writing them down actually helps your brain process what you're actually typing rather than just copying and pasting where you don't even read what the definition is. And a lot of times we don't even know what the definitions are actually saying. You need to include an image that helps you better understand the term's meaning, and then write 2 or 3 examples of the given term. Sometimes it's helpful to look up synonyms, words that mean the same thing. And then 2 to 3 non-examples of that given term as well. And this could be antonyms if you're struggling to figure out some non-examples, words that mean the opposite. Okay, so the first term is input. Again, you see the definition in the upper left-hand corner box, image in the upper right-hand corner, examples and non-examples. And so what we find the easiest way of doing this is just going to Google, just typing in Google input definition and seeing what comes up. And input is pretty simple, kind of like it sounds. It's put in, taken in, or operated on by a processor system. And so then you just go back here and type that in, what goes into a system. All right, there's a simple definition. I understand what that means. I put it into my own words. Now if you go back to Google, up at the top, it's easy just to click on images up there and you get a whole bunch of different images. You just need to go through and find one that kind of makes sense. So here, input example, output example. I could use this picture for both of those first 2 words, input and output. And so we'll just copy that image. We'll go up here, we'll paste it, paste the image in there. I'm just going to resize it to just make sure it gets all on the same page. There we go. So an example of an input just from this picture right here, when I'm using my computer or my Chromebook, the input, what's going into something is my keyboard. So the words that I type on my keyboard, it could be how I control it with a mouse as well, if I'm just using the computer as an example. Some non-examples might be, if I look right here, well, the output, that's an opposite, what comes out of the system, and that's the next word you're going to define, which would be a printer. Okay, so a printer would be an example of kind of the output, what comes out of the system. There we go, I'm just going to leave that. So there we go, so non-examples, examples, definition, and image, and hopefully by going through this I better understand what that term means. So you're going to go to the next one, output. You see torque and gear ratio, idler gear, conservation of energy, that's a should defined term, and reversal of power. And this one you might have to do a little looking and digging. You might have to kind of put definitions of those terms or those words together to kind of create one overarching definition for reversal of power. or reach out, ask your teacher if you have questions about that one as well. And then, as always, doing a task summary. What was something you learned by doing this vocabulary, and then how were you successful? And then you see the end of task 1. So if you have any questions about this task, please make sure that you ask your teacher. All right, good luck, and hopefully you learn some new terms.